So you spent all of your time and effort on creating a song and releasing it. But now what? Well, here are 10 things that every single artist needs to do as soon as they've released their song. You've clicked this video, so chances are you've already released a track, or you're planning on releasing a track soon. So this video is going to be perfect for you because you're going to find out 10 essential tips that you need to do immediately once you've released your song. All of these tips are essential and they work hand in hand. So let's start with tip number 1, which is just make sure everyone knows it's out. This is probably the most simple tip of all 10, but it's the one that a lot of people forget about because people work so hard pre-release that they actually just forget after release to tell their fans continuously. We're obviously not telling you to just post it on your socials every single day because that comes across as spam. And these 10 tips are going to get you away from spamming your audience and actually make sure that you get legitimate streams and legitimate fan engagement. So the simple things you can be doing is changing your social media banner, so Twitter and Facebook, and make sure it says that the track is already out. You also need to change the links in your bio and update any sort of about section that you have on social media. Step number 1 is quite simple, right? But number 2, I bet you haven't thought of. Posting on subreddits. Reddit has a huge music community. There are subreddits such as Listen to This, We Are the Music Makers, and Indie Heads, all of which you can post your song onto and see what people think. But make sure you read the rules for every single subreddit. And also make sure to caption it something that's actually going to make people listen. So if you think you sound like Catfish and the Bottlemen, say that you sound like them, because people are more likely to click that than a name they've never heard of before. Tip number 3 is build on that online presence. Pre-release, you should have been getting some press and some radio play. But if you haven't, no worries, you can do it now. Of course, a lot of you are going to say, oh, I don't have any contacts in the press, I don't have any contacts with radio. But there's a little thing called Submit Hub. Submit Hub is a website which allows you to upload your track, upload a press release or a bio, and then send it to the curators of Spotify playlists, producers of radio stations, and editors of blogs. You simply filter them out through the genre that you are, and then click on the places that you want to submit to. However, if you want to do it properly, you want to go full on PR mode and you have the time to get a press release and pitch it to blogs, then you can watch our video on how to promote your music on zero budget, and I'll make sure to link it below. Tip number 4, and the one I think all of you are going to be the most excited about, is getting on Spotify playlists. Pre-release, you should have submitted via the Spotify for Artists form because that puts your track in front of the editors. But if you didn't, don't worry, do that on your next release for sure. Make sure to do it 4 weeks prior to release so the editors have plenty of time to listen. But now your track's out. Now what? Well, you need to get it on user-curated and branded playlists. That's where our other tip came in handy. Submit Hub lets you submit to Spotify curators, but then you can also go on a Spotify deep dive to find some playlists that are fitting for you. By a Spotify deep dive, I basically mean find an artist that's similar to you, go on their About section, and see what playlist they're on. And from there, you can go on that playlist and click on another artist and see what playlist they're on. And you can spend hours doing this. Often these playlists will have an email address or an Instagram account in the description of the playlist, so you can just pitch your track to them like that. However, you need to keep clear of the ones that are saying, oh, you have to pay $10 to be on the playlist per month. Or they give you an exact figure of streams that you're going to get from that playlist. Because this probably means that they're running bots through the playlist, or they're breaking Spotify's terms and conditions. So you need to stay clear of those, because otherwise you're getting fake streams. And what's the point in that? You want 100% real streams, organic engagement, and that's where tip number 5 comes in handy. Social media advertising. If you watch any of our content, especially our Instagram videos, you will know that we constantly push artists to be creating content for their social media. And this should especially be the case when you have a new single out. Because yes, you've already told your fans, you've put it on your story linking to your Spotify account, you've made a new banner for your Twitter, but what about that audience that don't know you yet? You can reach them through social media ads. The best way to do this, and the one that will actually engage people and get legitimate streams, is to create a promo video. You can do this by either editing a music video you have or any sort of live footage, any video content you have, edit it into a short 30-second video and put your track over the top. Make sure to choose the most catchy part, so probably the chorus. And then you're going to put text over the top. You're going to put something like "for fans of," and then put some artists that you sound similar to. Make sure to choose some big names so people actually recognize them. Then you're going to put "as seen on." This could be Pitchfork, Line of Best Fit, Clash. But if you haven't had that big press, Perhaps you've had radio play, so as heard on Amazing Radio or BBC Introducing. Make sure you're targeting people that listen to your style of music too, because then you know they're going to stop scrolling. That tip is probably the one that's going to have the biggest impact because you're putting it in front of the right audience. But then also make sure to stick around for tip number 10, because that's one that I haven't seen many artists do, but the impact is huge. Tip number 6 is for those people that have a mailing list. These people are the best kind of people, because I feel like a lot of artists have forgotten about this. They're so busy focusing on their social media content that they're not thinking about the old school stuff. And this old school emailing list still works. So for those of you who've already got that emailing list, make sure to be sending an email on release day with the Spotify link or the YouTube link to the video, letting your fans know that it's out. For those of you that don't have an emailing list, make sure you get on this. And the best way to get people to sign up to your emailing list is to give something away. So you've just released your track. So what you could do is say, submit to our emailing list, and you can watch a behind the scenes video of how we created the track. Tip number 7, and one we slightly mentioned earlier with Submit Hub, is radio play. Submit Hub don't have a huge amount of radio stations. It's more blogs, Spotify playlists, and YouTube channels. So you need to be getting radio play as well. To get your track on radio, you need to have a persuasive pitch. And that pitch needs to include what the track sounds like, what you've done in the past, what you're doing currently, and then has a link to the SoundCloud link and then a link to download. You need to be sending this to as many producers as you can, as many radio stations as possible. And if you want more help with this, we've done a full video on how to get national radio play, which I'll link below. Tip number 8 is make sure you're playing it live. If you're slightly more established, maybe you've done a single launch, or you've got some tour dates coming up after the single's out. And if that's the case, make sure you're plugging it throughout the set. Make sure you make that track stand out. So introduce it, play it to the best quality you can, and then afterwards say, we've just released this track, so feel free to stream. For those of you that haven't got a gig, try to be organising one, and that doesn't mean a massive one. You can literally play your local pub, or you can support one of your friends. Either way, it's great to get the track out there by playing it live, because it brings it to life, and then it's so much easier to sell to someone. Tip number 9 is take advantage of that DM feature on Instagram and Twitter. We're nearly at tip number 10, and tip number 10 is the big one. That's the one that is going to change everything for you. But back to the DMing feature, because this one's amazing and so easy to do. So we're going to start with Twitter. You basically need to find a band that you're similar to. So let's take Catfish and the Bottlemen, for example. You're going to go on their Twitter and you're going to scroll through their followers. And you're going to start DMing every single follower they have. Just saying, I noticed you like Catfish and the Bottlemen. I think I sound a little similar to them and I take inspiration from them. So take a listen to my track. And if they don't reply, then leave it. But if they do reply, follow up a few days later asking if they liked it. Don't be pushy because this is going to come across as spam. But ask for their thoughts, start a conversation, build a relationship. And you can do the same thing with Instagram. You can go onto Catfish and the Bottlemen and see who's following them and DM them. It's easier to do on Instagram because everyone has their DMs open. Plus, you can make a more personal comment because you can see a lot more on their Instagram. Before DMing each person, just have a quick look at their profile and mention it in the message so they know you're not just copy and pasting. If you do both of those things, you will find your track getting shared and you will find immediate results. Now, tip number 10. This is the one I've been talking about. This is the one that will change everything for you. And this is getting your track placed in YouTube videos and Instagram videos. So what you're going to do is find YouTubers that have a very high following and you're going to send them your track. Make sure that they actually use your style of music and then go onto their about section and send them an email. In return, you can ask them to link to you in the description of their video. This one works. We've had artists placing videos with up to 5 million subscribers. You can do the exact same with Instagram as well. Find massive Instagram accounts that use music, such as makeup tutorials, and just DM them on Instagram. If you do the Instagram sync and the YouTube sync, your streams will rocket up. Easy to do, right? Well, if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to do this, I've done a full video. So make sure to check it out and let us know your thoughts on that one. So those are the 10 tips. Those are 10 things that every single artist needs to be doing as soon as their track is out. I hope you found these 10 tips useful. And if you did, let us know in the comments. Let us know which tip you think was best and which ones you've tried. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, show us some love because we're really trying to help you guys out. We'll be back soon with more music marketing content. And if you have any suggestions, of course, feel free to comment or message us on Instagram because we reply to every single DM. Thanks for watching and see you soon.